brought my water.
Okay.
I drank my coffee already.
Slide it forward.
Hi, how are you?
Good, are you?
Good. Is Austin coming?
He is keeping my eye out for him.
Floor?
It's pretty dry this morning, but I had more coffee than there were rest stops.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you gotta watch that consumption. I try to limit my fluid intake.
yeah.
If I'm drinking coffee, I don't drink anything else, so.
You want to sign in there?
One thing to note, we'll start promptly at 8 o'clock. Mark had some things get rearranged in his schedule, so we don't have him for a whole lot of time this morning. So I don't want to discourage anybody from public comment. It's not meant to do that, but I think it's best if we have a full board to get through everything that we're looking at. So, I mean, if we stay on track, I guess is what I'm asking. I'm not asking to limit public comment, but visiting on something, just to try to stay on topic.
And if anybody has questions of me after I'm gone, just call. I can give you my cell phone number.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Lynn's got the chimes going. So, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Grandfield Township Joint Special Meetings and Public Hearing of the Grandfield Township Board of Supervisors and Grandfield Township Zoning Board, July 9th, 2026 at 8 a.m. at Grandfield Church. I'd like to call it to order. Lynn will do roll call.
Greg,
Here.
Mark,
Yes.
Levi,
Here.
all present.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move. I second.
Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none. We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now what we are gonna do is we are going to open up public comment on amendments to section 2.2, 3.2, 5.1, 6.3, 6.4, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, 9.0, and 10.1 of the Grandfield Township zoning ordinance, as well as proposed amendments concerning wind energy facilities citing that would be new to be numbered section of the zoning ordinance. So with that, we'll open up the public comment. Don't all jump in at once, and everybody will have the opportunity. And there's a packet up here, if anybody's wondering what it looks like. Where you can grab that, I believe Steve did. Quinn, that packet is what I emailed to you. So I'm assuming you're Quinn.
Levi, I got it. Yes,
Okay.
you're right. I'm Quinn. Can you point me to, I'm sorry, I didn't look this over in time, but can you point me to where the 3 times the tip height is in here?
It's at the very back.
That's, I think, what I wanna ask you about.
So that would be at the back page,
Okay,
where it only has, it's a short graph, only 2 columns. And it's a
Okay.
to be numbered since it's not existing in
Okay.
zoning.
got it.
And what it says is a proposed amendment, and this was proposed at the last meeting that got us to here.
Okay,
And it says setbacks from non-participating property, implement setbacks from a non-participating property landowner, and like the property line. So if I'm a participant and you aren't, and the line between the tables would be the property line, and you're not a participant, I am, the towers couldn't be placed closer than 3 times the tip height to that property line, is what the conversation of all of it, around it involved. However, if we were both participants, well then there wouldn't be that setback because there wouldn't be a non-participating property line.
okay, I think I understand that. And I think I understand that the state rule generally is 1 time or 1.1.
I think it's 1.1 is
The-
what
the tip
generally
height.
at the
So
public.
this would be different than the state rule, and why should it be or would it be different here than the rest of the state?
I'll let the zoning.
Because that was what came out of the North Dakota Farmers Union's, I don't know what you call it.
Their state convention.
Yeah,
So
it last fall, that's what they passed, and they're pro-alternative energy group. And it's just something I proposed. It doesn't mean we're gonna do it.
So some of the conversation around it. So North Dakota Farmers Union is the largest agricultural organization in North Dakota, I mean, by number of members. And they had that in their directives, in their policy handbook, not saying that it's that's not saying that it's a law, it's not saying that it is anything that the state is doing, but that gives them their direction if something comes up at the state, it gives them a position on something to lobby for or against. Some of the conversation around that involved with the state at being 1.1. And it all depends on the height of the tower, you know, that's why it's in a multiple of tip height. But could that close proximity inhibit something that's going on over here, like spray plane or something like that? That somebody didn't sign up their land because they were worried about a use. And that was just, it's in their policy directives, and yeah, they have a lot of things in there that are talking about wind energy or alternative energy.
Is it a new policy that the farmers union developed that happened after the state went with 1.1? Or,
Yeah, it was just at their last convention in November.
so it's relatively new?
Yep.
That's when it happened,
Okay,
okay.
has anyone given consideration, my understanding is that Minnesota did enact a 3 times tip height rule and then repealed it, finding it ineffective, and essentially precluding wind energy projects. Has anybody considered that it hasn't worked in Minnesota?
Are you saying the 3 times the tip height from a non-participating property, Minnesota did that?
Yeah,
Okay, I guess I haven't been following everything in Minnesota, so,
Is
yeah.
the
Go ahead, Steve.
NDFU, I read the policy, it says tower height. So you're saying turbine height? Do you know what exactly North Dakota Farmers Union, what their language means? Have you dug into that?
Hold on 1 second. Well,
It said 3 times tower height. They changed it from 1.1 to 3 times tower height. So their old policy was 1.1, and now it's 3 times tower height.
while you have that up, does it say when they changed, when that policy went into effect?
And I got a screenshot of it.
Okay,
It's on ndfu.org. But it came out of their convention, which was, very beginning of December, I believe.
That 3 times tip height, that seems to match what it is from a setback, so from a setback from a residence, so one thing it would do is not inhibit non-participants from not being able to build a house, say, anywhere on their property, compared to the 1.1 times. And I imagine that gets confusing, especially if there's reverse setbacks, and there's also, exclusion zones if there's hazards. And what's not to say that amendment doesn't, include the option for a variance where the non-participating landowner could, sign a variance, because I'm sure there's lots of variances, there's good neighbor agreements, and there's options for negotiation there.
Will there be such a opportunity for variance waiver, whatever you wanna call it?
is that
Well,
proposed?
Is that language drafted? How that will work?
There is, speaking of variances in the other amendments that are proposed.
But no variance drafted as to this
Well,
provision?
when you go into the zoning, it talks about different types of variances.
You mentioned houses being built as
I
well, this
did.
is consistent with the setback for resident.
Yeah, well, it's consistent with the PSC's setback from inhibited residences, 3
Well,
times.
that's a whole separate subject.
I know, but it does match it,
Hold on here 1 second.
3 times turbine to tip height.
7.2,
Residents? I thought they were a half mile.
No, they're 3 times turbine to tip height, PSC is.
Not that we're talking about that really, but
Well, it is relevant if you own property and you wanna build a house on it.
And you can, in agriculturally zoned areas, you can build the house anywhere on the property?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Single family dwellings are permitted use in agriculturally zoned land.
okay,
And part of the reason why we're here today, so everything in Eddy County and everything in Grandfield Township is zoned agricultural. So when you go into the agriculturally zoned heading, it says permitted uses and conditionally permitted uses.
okay,
And then, I'm just gonna rattle off some examples. Permitted uses, churches and cemeteries, schools, single-family homes, elevator, grain storage, livestock feeding facilities. Conditionally permitted uses, multifamily dwelling, that type of thing. Things that you'd need to go get a conditional use permit to do. And then you'd have industrial, and you'd have residential, and whatever else, commercial. And with everything in Eddy County being zoned agricultural, and everything in Grandfield Township zoned agricultural, the only place that an energy conversion facility was listed was in industrially zoned land. An energy conversion facility with a nameplate grader of whatever was mentioned there. It wasn't mentioned in ag. So then it's like, how does that work when there's no industrially zoned land?
Have we looked at other counties, how they do it?
Well, there's been a lot of things, and can I just interject for a previous topic that
Yeah,
we were
sorry.
talking? 7.2.7, variances. Now, this is, all these things here, nobody's zoning is an original work. It's like math homework, somebody borrows it from somebody else. So, we basically, as the township, looked at Eddy County zoning and made a couple tweaks to make it applicable to Grandfield Township. And then with everything that went on and the amendments that were proposed to the county, we were expecting amendments were gonna be proposed to the township. There was a conversation that Wells and I had back in, let's say, March, where, yep, we're gonna propose amendments. Well, they didn't. They proposed option 1 and option 2, and then in the meeting brought up an option 3. Well, we went with, I can't remember what option it was, but we didn't go with the option 3. There was one option where they were gonna help do this type of stuff. Well, we didn't go with a joint powers agreement with the county. We decided to keep handling it ourselves. So all these amendments, with the exception of like at the very end, these were proposed by Flicker Tailwind to Eddy County because they thought this was some of the remedies for Eddy County. Now, if our zoning really follows Eddy County, a lot of these amendments could be the remedy that they were seeking for Grandfield Township. So we didn't get anything confused or skip anything. We're looking at the exact same ones that they proposed to not try to reinvent the wheel. So for the purpose of these amendments, we'd look at changing Eddy County Commission with Grandfield Township Board of Supervisors. And the purpose of these amendments, we'd look at changing Eddy County Zoning Commission to be replaced with Grandfield Township Zoning Board. There was a few that's in here that we don't have those numbers, or it's not applicable because it's referring to a part of Century Code that strictly deals with county zoning. So there is some of that, but back to when Quinn and Steve asked about variances. So I'm gonna read this language that's in here. Now keep in mind those changes that we'd have to make it applicable to the township and the township board and the zoning.
Which one are you looking at, Levi?
7.2.7.
Okay,
So it reads variances. The county tax director shall issue a variance upon the approval of the application by the zoning commission and the county commission subject to provisions of section 8.3. So that was the language that zoning had, Eddy County had. They were wanting to change it to variances. The county tax director shall issue a variance upon the approval of the application of the zoning commission or county commission subject to the provisions of 8.3.